So on September 12th, Nintendo dropped a Nintendo Direct. Now, I didn't really see it coming. I wasn't really paying attention, but in my notifications, it did pop up. So I watched it and I have some mixed feelings on this, and I'm sure there's a lot of people feeling the same way. So I just wanted to get my thoughts out there on the internet for you guys. So for today's video, we'll be talking about that direct. So without further ado, let's get right into it. You are watching The Average Joe Show, and let's talk about that weird Nintendo Direct. All right, guys, I hope you've all been doing well. I am really tired. I apologize for not getting a video up last week. I started a new part-time job reffing soccer. So last week was my first full week of doing that, and I'm enjoying it so far, but it took away hours to make the videos. So, but it's the weekend. I'm feeling good. I just ran 12 miles, and I thought, on that 12-mile voyage that I was like, what video do I want to do? And I was like, you know what? This Nintendo Direct is very strange. So let's get into this Direct. So it's the 40-year anniversary of Super Mario Brothers. And so they started off the Direct, and it was a whole bunch of, I don't want to say it's like a sizzle reel of stuff that doesn't really matter, but it was a lot of non-announcements. What do I mean by that? Well, we already knew that the second movie in the Super Mario Illumination movies was already going to come out. So I thought they were kind of wasting their time. They didn't show absolutely anything other that it's going to be the Mario movie in space, which is then followed by the announcement that they are re-releasing Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 in kind of like the Pikmin 1 and 2 release for the regular Switch. The games literally just look kind of like the Wii version of the games. They don't look up-res, they don't look remastered, you know what I mean? They don't look brand new. They look like it's just the same games ported. And they are releasing at, I think it was $80 each. Or not each. Oh, that would be a lot of money. They're releasing $80 for that game. I'm not really sold on it. It was kind of, I felt confused the entire time because of 3D All-Stars had Mario Galaxy. I think it would have been better if they just released for Mario Galaxy 2, because they haven't re-released that game for any remake. The only time it has released has been on the Wii. Do I think it's overpriced? Yeah, I do. Am I gonna get it? I don't know. The reason being is because I have 3D All-Stars, and it's kind of pointless to spend $80 on a game for a game you already have with no, plus ones added to it at all. And then they keep continuing it. They show off Mario Tennis Fever. I've never been a big Mario sports game, but it just kind of, I don't want to say that it's going to be a bad game, but it kind of reminded me of actually this whole presentation has reminded me of kind of like a Wii U when they announced, I think they announced the Wii Mario Tennis and Animal Crossing, the board game, in the same Direct. And that's kind of what this one, it didn't show off anything stellar, at least for the Mario Tennis game. It looked pretty standard. The backgrounds look pretty standard. It doesn't even look like a cool stadium. So, they announced that, and then they announced that Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be getting a Switch 2 edition added to the game. And the weird thing is, this whole thing's weird. The weird thing is that they decided to show off all the new multiplayer features, and I understand that the Super Mario Bros. Game is generally, played multiplayer. I played the entire game of Wonder. I played, co-op, and all it was doing was showing off mini games, which was very strange, and they look fun, but they didn't show anything that would be worth kind of like that Switch 2 edition. And I guess there's going to be some more levels with the Koopa Kids, but they didn't show any of it off. So I was like, why would we buy this? Because I believe it already has gotten a free update to run better, I guess, on the Switch 2. It just didn't hit. That was basically it for a lot of the Mario 40th anniversary. There was nothing in there that made me say that feels like a celebration. And they spent, 15 minutes in the beginning talking about all this. I just felt like nothing about that screams celebration. I would say that thing that I'm excited for most that they showed in terms of like all the Mario stuff wasn't actually Mario. It was actually the new Yoshi game, Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which the name sounds a little bit goofy, but Yoshi games have always been like kind of like that Super Mario's kind of platforming with additional features, right? It was like a continuation of standard Mario, like a new way to play with, Yoshi being kind of like Mario, but you get the egg throwing, the flutter jump, and someone can ride on your back. What's really cool about this game is that we are seeing a return of characters being able to ride on Yoshi's back, which is a big part of Yoshi. And they've ditched kind of the route they were going with wool, the craft. I think they've exhausted that. Crafted World was good. It wasn't like Woolly World. Woolly World was a standout. It was always better than a lot of people probably didn't give it a chance because it was a Wii U. It was just very fantastic. And I think you can only capture that once. They tried it with Crafter World. People were hoping that it was like Woolly World, but it was never there. The world looks very immersive. The fact that, enemies can jump on your back now, that is cool. And that's going to allow for a lot of creativity. Just having like a baby Mario on your back that just cries and screams, like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, not at this point in the Yoshi games, right? Because they've gone away from it. They've gone away from the babies and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to play probably a more traditional 2D Yoshi game, which is cool. I thought they might have been doing a 3D Yoshi, but I'm kind of glad that they've done like the 2.5D. It's going to be fun, and I'm excited for it. And then I'm gonna like there was nothing in the sizzle reels that I was excited for. I'm not a huge fan of Tamagotchi Life. I never got it on the DS, and so I've never played it. It's definitely not going to be one of the games that I'm looking forward to. Hades 2 looks really cool, but I never played Hades 1, so what I might have to do is get Hades 1 before Hades 2 releases and test those games out. Out of all the sizzle reel stuff, I would say that is the most substantial one. The other weird thing is that Kirby Air Riders is getting another direct for some reason. Don't know why. I think they said it in the Kirby Air Riders direct that they haven't made one because they saw it as kind of like a competitor to Mario Kart, which shocks me, which is probably why F-Zero hasn't gotten another game, because if they're viewing Kirby Air Riders as a competitor to Mario Kart, then they clearly view F-Zero, a dedicated racing game, as a competitor to Mario Kart. And I don't see that. The reason is that they're two very, very, very different games. They control differently. They move differently. Like City Run, which is the big part of that game, is you can't even like compare it to anything that Mario Kart has done, because like that is a main draw of the game. So it's getting another direct. I really like the amiibo that are with it. I feel like I'm going to be spending more money on the amiibo that were shown off in this presentation than any other game that was announced. I'm going to be spending $80 on statues versus $80 on a game. What's really cool is that there's going to be more coming out, and they have the Warp Star, the different Warp Stars and different characters, and you can like mix and match. It was like what was that game? That one game that they did with Ubisoft. I can't remember that name, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, I think it was on the Switch when it came out. And I remember hearing it had Star Fox in it. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, the amiibo that were shown off in this direct, very, very nice. And I'm also excited for Air Riders to come out as well, because it's a lost game. I don't know, so far nothing has hit, and they go immediately into Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which if you don't like Warriors games, you're not gonna like that. They show off Dragon Quest Reimagined. Like, unless you play these games, you don't care about them. Like, I care about Hyrule Warriors, but I'm not anticipating it. Like, seeing the new character, like, it's what I expect. So a lot of the stuff here is only gonna hit either if you are a fan of that game or if you're just super into the series. There was a lot of series stuff that was happening in this direct. We'll move right along. Probably the second thing that I would say that I was most excited for was the presentation of Metroid Prime 4. They didn't show a lot, but they did show Samus in a bike. What is cooler than Samus on a bike? Nothing. And it looks a lot more open world, which is interesting. I just wonder if it's going to be like kind of vast planets and you're just like there's going to be a lot of nothingness because, you know, in space, a lot of planets don't have anything. So maybe that is their way of being able to create different environments and stuff. And you just, like in Metroid Prime, when you kind of like go between, there's always like I have this big hub and it's like my connection between, you know, each of the main areas. So maybe they're just using a vast planet now instead of that, because there looks like a whole bunch of nothingness on the segments that they're showing. But the bike looks cool. It is getting an amiibo. I will be getting that amiibo because I love Metroid amiibos. So racing in space, who knew? But like I said, the bigger thing than Samus and a bike is the fact that we did actually get a launch date, which is December 4th of this year, which is a great Christmas present for anyone that is a Prime enthusiast. And the game looks really good. Donkey Kong Bonanza got DLC. I was assuming that was going to get DLC, and it did. I'm going to be lost in time and space with it. You basically, it looks like kind of like time trials and like gathering this emerald currency. And what's pretty cool is that it goes into the original DK Island. It starts there, and then as you go through each level, you progress into like more of the main game. But we don't have to spend a lot of time on that. It's just, if you like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which you should, it's a great game, there's just more additional stuff to do. And then the last two things that came out were this weird Pokemon what was it called? Pokemon Pokepia, which is basically a new game where it looks like Animal Crossing but in Pokemon. It's a farming game with Pokemon. You're a Ditto. That's it. How did it hit? Mixed reception. It kind of has that, it's like a mix between Mystery Dungeon and like Dragon Quest Builders. Just like the formation of it. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it. It looks fun. The human Ditto that you are looks ridiculous. I don't know if I like that or not, but I'm sure a bunch of people are gonna obviously get the game. You know, Pokemon hype's out of control right now. They're gonna release that in 2026, so I'm sure we're gonna see more of that in the future. It'll be fun. Was it something that I knew that I knew was coming? No. Do I want it? I don't know. That's just where we're at right now. And then it showed some more Legends. I guess we're getting some Legends DLC, paid DLC with Mega Raichu, it looks like, X and Y. That was like the coolest part of not the paid DLC part, but just like those were the coolest Pokemon showed off. It looks like Koopa's gonna have like a bigger part in that. And then we also got the Mega Evolution reveals of the Greninja, Delphox, as well as Chestnut. And I think I'm gonna save the discussion of my thoughts overall on the new megas that they're showing for a different video, but I was surprised that Chikorita, Totodile, and Tepig didn't get any. So I'm gonna get Legends. I already knew I was gonna get Legends, so we're still at the mid. But is there anything left over in this direct? And the answer is another sizzle reel, Resident Evil coming out. I'm never been a huge Resident Evil kind of person. I'm happy for the people that are getting it on there. And then the last announcement. You would think they would, you know, maybe with the strong start of the Mario, that they would go into like a Mario themed announcement for the 40th anniversary, but they don't. And what do they choose? They choose Fire Emblem, a new Fire Emblem game. And I am a Fire Emblem fan. However, looking at it, I'm watching the trailer, I'm confused the whole time, because I was just like, this feels like they are going to do Three Houses again, just with all the bow, you know, like the sacred weapons was like a headdress and stuff. And then I saw the Sword of the Creator and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a prequel to Three Houses. So we've already had Three Houses, and I understand that is a big success. We had Fire Emblem Warriors, which is another Three Houses. And then we had Fire Emblem Engage, which was a departure from Three Houses, but the story is hard to get through. The gameplay is good, but the story is hard to get through. I'm kind of done with the Three Houses. I really wish the next one, I was hoping the next Fire Emblem was actually some remakes of games that we didn't get in America, like they did with the Echo series. I thought the Echo series was going to be way more popular, and I love that game on the 3DS. I was really hoping that within the Switch life, we could get some more Fire Emblem remakes, you know, or reimaginings. I like Three Houses. I just don't think it needed a prequel. I really don't. Did we need a prequel for Awakening? The answer is no. Did we need anything after Awakening? You know, the game that got Fire Emblem back on the map? The answer is no. I'm gonna get the game regardless, but there's nothing in here that would hype me up if I had never played a Fire Emblem before. And it's like on the Switch too, you know, I just don't feel like it's a system seller. And at this point in time, they need a system seller, and big announcements will sell systems. And I didn't feel like there was any big announcements during this direct. I feel like it was a lot of safe, a lot of mid-tier mediocre. And when they announced the direct, you know, 2 days before, I didn't even have time to react. I kind of forgot that the direct was happening. It was just a lot of weird stuff. I don't know why there's been a lot of Pokemon directs, why there's been a lot of Nintendo directs for games that I don't think needed it, and then games that do need it don't get it. I don't know. It was just very weird. I would say overall that, you know, it was also very long. I kind of was shocked on how long it was. I feel like it was long, but there wasn't a lot of substance. Not my cup of tea kind of thing. Oh yeah, and one more thing that was very weird is that they're bringing the Virtual Boy back, I guess, and all the games are going to be available if you have the Nintendo Switch Online, as well as the original controller, and then a cardboard cutout that was basically a copy paste from Nintendo Labo. I don't know, guys. It was very strange. This one just felt very lacking. So anyway, guys, I was very underwhelmed by the Nintendo Direct that just released. Hopefully, I was looking for a little bit more announcements that are coming up this year, but at least we got Samus on a Bike and Metroid Prime coming in December. So if you guys agree with me, let me know down in the comments. And if you're new to this channel, remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like the video. We are almost to 300 subscribers. So thank you all for watching the Average Joe Show. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.